from $15 an hour to $500,000 a year. It's taken me about 4.5 years to go from there to where I am now, and I want to help you guys do something similar, if not the exact same or better. So I want to share my story as much as I possibly can. The beginning of it, to take you guys all the way back to the start, just to jump straight into it and give you guys as much value as possible. I was kind of like an idiot in high school. I was doing a lot of like the partying, talking to all the girls, doing all the stupid stuff, right? And then Corona hit, and I couldn't go to the parties. I couldn't hang out with all the girls. I couldn't do all the stupid stuff. So naturally, I was just kind of like forced to, and I've always kind of liked making money. I've always like resold shoes or worked little like jobs on the side during high school, like little hourly wage jobs. But immediately I was forced to be like, okay, can't do this stuff, can't go to school, might as well go get a job. So I actually was going to be a lifeguard. I took a lifeguard class. This is my dog right here, Dallas. She's 12 years old, so she's just walking around doing her thing. But yeah, so I pretty much had no choice but to like do something with my time, and I figured I might as well go make money. So I took like a lifeguarding class. I actually was about to pass it, and then my dad had an opportunity open up like where he was working in the oil field. Somebody that worked like contract work through him needed somebody, so he let me know that, and I was gonna get paid like $8 an hour as a lifeguard, if I'm not mistaken, $8.50. And this job, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of like roustabout. It's pretty much just field labor. It's disgusting. There's always oil on you. You're twisting a 12-inch, 24, 36-inch wrench all day. You're hammering in what they call like literally pretty much anything, actually, to be honest with you. Anything that has to do with building an oil field pad from like except for making the actual containment, you do all of that. So you drop in the big, tanks with the cranes and all that stuff. You're the guy that's kind of on the ground placing all that stuff. So I got that job opportunity. It paid $15 an hour, 10 times harder than the lifeguarding job, but I didn't really care because I was just young. I was like, I need to work. I need to make money. I had a truck at the time, and it's the only reason I really wanted to make money was to buy new wheels and tires and like subsystem, tent, all that cool stuff, which is like the casual, stupid high school thing to do. But yeah, so I tried to quit the lifeguard class. My dad told me no, because I don't quit on things is what he told me. Made me continue to take the lifeguard class and get my certification. And then the day after I got my certification, I went and worked in the oil field. So, yeah, from there, I think honestly looking back on it, he might have made me do that just to make sure I didn't quit in the oil field, because that job is like hard as hell. It's probably one of the hardest jobs like I've ever seen, to be honest with you. It's way worse than anything else in the oil field, and everybody knows it. They literally call it like just trash work almost. Like, it's so bad. But I did that for like 6 months. And during those 6 months, every day I would go into work. I would wake up at like 4, sometimes 3. Once it got really hot, we tried to get like all of our work done in the morning so we could have a longer break. So we would show up earlier. And yeah, it was like 10, 12-hour days, 14, 16-hour days sometimes if we were super rushed to get a pad done. And it was really, really hard work. And every day I would show up, like, never missed a day. Was late once because I didn't see the crew drive past me. I was actually on the location, though. So technically I wasn't late. But I was never late, never missed a day. But every day I showed up, I just knew something was, like, off. Like, I was just like, I'm working with 35, 40, 45, 50-year-old guys that are getting paid, like, 15, 25 bucks an hour. And I'm looking at my paychecks, and they're coming to like $1,000 a week after taxes because we're working 70 or 80 hours. I'm like, dude, how can somebody have 4 dependents? Like, how can somebody have a wife and 3 kids on $1,000 a week? Like, it does not make sense. And like a lot of these guys, they're literally living in Mexico, driving over to the States, sleeping in their truck for 5 or 6 days a week, and then going back to Mexico for one day to see their family because it's cheaper to live in Mexico and to eat and to survive in Mexico, but you can make better money in America. And I'm like, there's got to be a different life than that. And it just kind of woke me up. So I, at this point, probably had like $6,000 or $7,000 in my bank. I was pretty good at saving money. I didn't really spend it on anything except for my truck, and it already had the wheels, the tires, the subsystem, the tent, the rock lights, all that cool stuff, the cool grill. So other than that, I was just chilling. I went home that night after having the epiphany, and I was like, I need to get on YouTube and just search up what do I do with money. So I started researching the stock market, researching real estate like crazy, researching like literally everything you could imagine. I turned into like an insane 18-year-old. I was 17 and a half whenever I started this. Read my first 2 books, and after that it was like over. I think the first one was Stock Market Investing for Dummies and Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And then from there, I started trying to day trade. From there, I started trying to do options trading. From there, I looked into long-term dividend stocks with like the DRIP method, which is like the automatic reinvestment plan, and just letting things compound. I figured out compound interest at like 17 and a half, 18 years old. As soon as I turned 18, I just opened a brokerage account and started going crazy. Because I was obsessed. I was addicted. I realized that every dollar at 18 years old is probably worth like 1,000 if I invest it correctly at 60. And it just really, really, really intrigued me. I took a lot of losses, took a lot of wins in terms of like day trades, options trades, literally like up 2,000, down 5,000, up 3,000, down 1,000. Like it was ridiculous. I was still in high school. Like at this point, Corona had kind of stopped and we were going back to school, like half on, half off. And I was like sitting in my English class watching my stock options go up $1,000, and my English teacher would get pissed at me for being on my phone. And I'm like, I'm pissed because I'm like, dude, I'm about to exit this trade, dude, get out of here. So yeah, it was a pretty crazy like part of my life. From options trading, I ended up having like a career-ending mistake. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but I lost like 6,000 on a swing trade. It was looking really good, and then Trump got Corona, and the world started panicking because he was our president at the time, and the stock market dipped like 10% in a day. Everything tanked, and it hurt because it was right next to my maturity date for the option, so I didn't really have time to let it ride back. So I cut my losses because it was going to expire in like a week, and it was just going to devalue itself anyways. And the market didn't recover, by the way, so I mean, it was a decent call by me to just take a loss, but from there, I was just like, you know what, man, I want something more like long-term. Like the 6,000 didn't really hurt me at that time because I had kept saving my money. I was already on the frugal train. So I started just investing in retirement accounts. I find the Roth IRA, start maxing that out every year. By the time I finish high school, probably have like $25,000 worth of net worth. Probably like 18 grand, probably 20 grand in the stock market and about 5K in my like normal checking account. So once I finish high school, as soon as I finish high school, I go back to the oil field, another $15 an hour job, doing welder's helper work, which is also shit, but it's better than roustabout work. Welder's helper, I was working the same hours, 10 hours a day minimum, a lot of the times 12, 14, or 16, out in the sun all day during the summer, and the only thing that I would really do is grind down welds, cut things, or, weld stuff myself, but it literally sucked. Like, it's just not fun. You get a little bit of a sense of fulfillment knowing that you're working hard, because men get dopamine from working hard because they have testosterone. It's just how the brain works. But other than that, it's a dead-end job. It's shit. So from there, I actually saved up money to give myself, like, enough of a cushion to go get my real estate license. As I was still doing all of this, I probably had read right about 100 books from the starting point till now. A lot of those were real estate, probably about 10 or 12 of them. And I really just liked the idea of real estate at this point. So I told myself I was going to go real estate investing in specific. I told myself I was going to go be a realtor to learn how to buy and sell homes efficiently. And if I could figure that out well enough, it would help me down the road in the long term whenever I'm trying to buy and sell homes for myself as an investor, because I always had like the vision essentially. So it's kind of a chess play, not a checkers play, where I was just trying to make more money. I was literally just trying to learn everything that I could. So I would walk around that office asking everybody questions, always peeking my head in the door, trying to be the guy that just provides value. Like, hey, do you need help with anything? Do you need help with anything? Because I knew if I could just be around the people that sell a bunch of real estate all the time, I could learn something from them. As my career was actually starting to kind of work in real estate, like I had my first day, I was 18 years old, about to turn 19. No, I was 19 years old. Had my first day that I made $1,000 in a day, which is what completely changed my life forever. Like, coming from $1,000 a week, working 70 hours a week, doing the shittiest job on the planet, or one of, I'm not arrogant enough to think that's the worst job in the world. But coming from that to making $1,000 in a day, the first time I made $1,000 in a day, it was actually $1,400 in 2.5 hours. And I just remember looking, and I got handed the check that day. As soon as I finished the work, she wrote the check and handed it to me. I remember looking at that and just being like, man, I'm 19 years old. If I can do this in a day, if I could figure out something within the next 10 years to do this every single day, like, holy, I'm making $400,000, $500,000 a year. Like, I can do it. Like, that was my tipping point of like, I believe in this entirely, and I'm never going back to like an hourly wage job. And then shortly after that, I had been watching this guy named Chandler David Smith on YouTube, and we're going to have to tag him and freaking show him some love because this guy's changed my life. But I was watching him on YouTube because he has like $40 million in real estate or something around there. I'm actually not sure what the number is anymore. He could give me an update, though. I could ask him. We could clarify. But I was watching him on real estate for probably about a year on YouTube. And one day he made a video. He's like, this is how I got all my real estate. I sold pest control with a company called Aptive doing summer sales door to door. And I watched the video and I was super skeptical because I'm from New Mexico. I've never heard of door to door sales, to be honest. Never heard of pest control really as like a whole because there's like no bugs. If you look around, like everything is dead out here. We live in the desert. I don't even know what plant that is, but I mean, that's our type of, what's that word? No, I'm trying to think. That's our type of, it's like greenery, but it's a different word for it. Either way, back to Chandler. So I'm watching Chandler, he makes this video. And I'm like, all right, cool, I'm interested. Click the link in his bio, go through the funnel that he has, fill everything out. And then I get a call from a guy. We chop it up a little bit. Sounds like a cool opportunity. Then he asked me for the last 4 of my social for background purposes. And I've never had like a not under the table job except for my welding job. And it was somebody that like knew somebody that I used to work with, so it was, and they had like an office that I could go into, everything, right? So it was 100% legit. But whenever this guy asked me for the last 4 of my social, I'm like 19 years old. I'm like, nah, I can't do that, bro. So I literally sat out like a whole summer. And then I actually misplaced that in the story. That was right before I got my real estate license. Then I went and got the real estate license. And then as my career was kind of starting to like work in real estate, sold a couple houses, made a couple thousand, 3,000 off a house, like good money, right? For a 19-year-old, big time. It's over, $1,000 a week, easy. And I get another DM. I comment on a post that Chandler Smith posts on Instagram because I'm still following him for the real estate because I love that content. And I comment on one of his posts. He bought like a 32-plex or something. I just say congratulations. And then I get this Instagram DM from this guy named Mark Wilmore, bro. And I have no clue who this guy is. He's from Idaho. But I see that he follows Chandler and Chandler follows him. And he's like, hey, man, I saw you commented on Chandler's post. He's one of my really good friends. I was just wondering why you're not in door-to-door sales. Because at that point, my Instagram was literally just me going to the gym, me reading 2 books a week, every single week, and me doing real estate sales. That was all that was on that was like my personal brand, is like, go to the gym and learn. Just get better. Like self-development to a T. And he's like, dude, you would crush it in door-to-door sales. I'm like, yeah, I've looked into it before, but like I've never actually done it. And he's like, dude, let's hop on a call, bro. Let's see if like we can make it make sense, whatever. I hop on a call, dude, and this guy is exactly who I want to be. He's like 25 years old. I think he's 24 at the time whenever I met him. 24 years old, has like $1 million in real estate, drives a pretty dope truck, has a wife, like I think it was like 12 units in rental real estate back then he had or something. And I was just so impressed by it. I'm like, you know what, dude, if this guy can do it, I can do it too. He's just like me. So I actually ended up giving it a shot. I was still super skeptical. He brought me out to this massive event before I even knew the pitch, before I even he just had faith in me, bro. It was crazy. Signed a random rookie sales rep that's never done door-to-door sales before, that he already has 100 and something other rookie sales reps. And for some reason just decides to take me to a team leader meeting. 6 months before the summer even starts. So flew me out to that. We had a 3-on-3 Utah Jazz court tournament. Our headquarters is up in Utah, and we're one of the Jazz sponsors. So it was right after I got out of high school. I played basketball. That's probably why he brought me. And we played a 3-on-3 tournament on the court. We had it all by ourselves. It was really cool. It was like a crazy experience. Coming straight out of high school, never doing anything cool. You know what I mean? Like that's all you know is the high school life. To like literally months after, less than a year after, playing a 3-on-3 basketball tournament at the Utah Jazz court, talking to, Dan Fleischman, the youngest entrepreneur to ever take a company public, talking to like the Diesel brothers, getting to meet all these people and being at like a private event where they're sharing all their secrets and, doing like a podcast style interview with all of them. It was just crazy. I thought that was like a super big value add that kind of sold me on the idea of coming out to Aptiv. But then we went to the team leader meeting and we started talking like numbers, not just like, hey, recruit this many people and do this and sell this many accounts. It was like, if we get somebody on a credit card versus a ACH, which is like direct deposit type setup through their bank account withdrawal, our retention is 2% better. And if we sell somebody on a 24-month versus a 12-month contract, our retention is 4% better, and our lifetime value increases by 7%. They're more likely to stick with us for longer because the 2 years, like, dude, we're breaking down crazy numbers. We're talking about if we can increase ACV by this percent, we can make X amount more dollars per sale given this commission percentage. Like, I was just kind of blown away. I was like, this place is legit. So from there, I went all in. My first summer, I went out to San Antonio, and that was an experience, dude. My first day, I sold 5 accounts, got super lucky, made $1,000 that day. So I thought I was about to be the best salesperson to ever step foot on San Antonio's turf from Aptiv. And I ended up doing $176,000 in revenue that year. It was 286 new customer accounts with like a 75% 24-month contract. So that's a lot of reoccurring revenue. But, like, there was so many days in there that I just wanted to quit and I wanted to give up. Like, there's days that I literally broke down and almost cried. Like, days that I got so pissed, I had my iPad in my hand and would just fucking hit myself in the head with my iPad. Like, I'm no joke. It's like I was giving everything I had to it. And whenever it wasn't working out, like, it would mess with my emotions so bad because I know I'm giving everything I have. Like, I've been on both sides, too, where it's like sometimes if I'm not giving it everything I have, I'm not that mad. Like, I get it. I know why I'm not getting everything out of it. Like, it is what it is. But, like, those days where, like, those weeks, those months where, like, I practice my sales pitch early in the morning. I go to the morning meeting and I write down notes and I knock all the fucking doors that I possibly can until 9:30 or 10 p.m. And then I come home and listen to a door-to-door sales podcast before I go to sleep. And then I wake up the next day and train my pitch and then bring my notebook to the morning meeting and write notes and knock 250 fucking doors the next day. And I still sell no accounts. Like, that's the shit that will almost break you. And you're going to have times like that regardless of what your entrepreneurship journey is, whether it's door-to-door sales or you're selling t-shirts and starting a clothing brand. Like, you can do everything that you can possibly do and sometimes still not get results. It's just part of the process. But that first summer was super awesome. Aside from those, couple breaking points that I had, everything else was amazing. I loved the grind. I loved the fact that I was getting tested mentally because I knew it was forcing me to grow. And I actually, like, literally fell in love with the process. Like, Saturday nights when everybody else is home and nobody else is knocking doors on the team anymore and I'm the only guy out there, like, I got David Goggins running in my head. Like, this shit sucks, but I want it to suck worse. Like, I want this to be harder. Like, I love this shit. It's Saturday night. My Segway dies that I used to drive from one door to the next. I throw it in a bush and I start jogging from one door to the next. And I'm talking like 7 miles, like just getting in as many doors as I possibly could. And then that second summer, obviously, like, my first summer had a lot of momentum. I did really well as a rookie. 286 accounts is super solid. Now, with modern day contract value, that would be like 275,000, 280,000 in total revenue, which would have been way better in terms of earnings. I made like 80 grand that summer with bonuses and everything included. So it was pretty sick. I knocked for like 5.5 months. But if I would have had a modern day contract value, I would have cleared $100,000, which would have been pretty sick. But after that summer, my first off season before my second summer, we took a couple team lead trips, and that's where I really just realized like how good life can be with money. Like, people always talk shit about wanting more money, but it's like, how do you eat every day? How do you like buy clothes for your kids? How do you like survive in this world without money? And then they make the argument, well, you have enough to get by, like why do you need more? It's like, do you think anybody wants to spend their entire life working? And like, do you think that's somebody's life purpose? Like, do you think somebody should like never travel the world and never have free time and never be able to take a month off to like just focus on raising their kids and making them good humans? Like, you need money to do that shit. So that's whenever I kind of came to that realization that money was like amazing, because I was in the middle of the Galapagos Islands on a yacht in the middle of the ocean going from one island to another. And I had this like another epiphany, dude. Life is full of these moments where you just come to this conclusion. I'm like, dude, I don't know where I'm at on the map. Like, if you showed me a map, I could not point at where I'm at. I have zero issues financially right now. I have 40 grand in the bank and I'm 20 and I have no monthly bills. Like, I'm pretty much rich. And I'm with all of my boys and none of them have any worries either. Like, this has got to be the coolest shit ever. And it's due to money at the end of the day. So from there, I ended up going completely like all in on door-to-door sales for my second summer. That was like the biggest year for me ever that changed my life. I ended up doing 50% more in personal sales on a better pay scale, given that I was a manager now. I had hit like a certain sales mark that pretty much qualified me for a raise on my personal sales. And I led a team that did 2.3 million in total annual reoccurring revenue with like a 60% 24-month contract, which was a lot of reoccurring revenue if you look at lifetime value of those customers. So because of that, we get paid pretty well off of that. I ended up making $300,000 that year, and we knocked for 6 months that summer. On top of the $300K, I had a lot of bonuses, probably 50 or 60K worth of bonuses. So like really 360-ish that year, but some of the bonuses get paid out next year. I earned 360, but made 300, if that makes sense. And then year 3 coming into now, year 2, let me actually touch on year 2 a little bit. There was a lot of struggles that year. I just want to give you guys the real, like the nitty gritty, how it is. We went to Florida, a market that I've never knocked, tons of bugs, amazing place. Looking back retrospectively, that market was awesome. But, there was some serious struggles. So first things first, once we got there, I had a team of like 25 guys. We were selling like one account a day. Like one person was getting a sale a day, which means like 25 people, one person was making money every day. Like that was it. And it was like that for like our first week. We went from like one sale to like 2 sales to another 1 and then a 3 and then a 4. And then we had a 7-day. And I remember being so distraught because I'm like, man, I've trained these guys like crazy. There's some guys that I'm jumping on calls with 5 times a week going over a 4-paragraph sales pitch, and they're still not selling accounts. And we've been training this pitch for months. Like, it made no sense to me. I was in literally just like a complete brain fog. Like, there was no clear solution anywhere. But every night we'd come home, we would talk about how the day went, what went good, what went bad, what we can fix. We would practice some pitch reps, go to sleep, wake up the next morning, have a morning meeting, and I would lay out like everything I knew about a switchover sale, or why eye contact, head nods, and smiles are important, or how to have a good mentality on the doors and not let a bad customer affect the next customer because it could be your rollover. And I'm just giving everything that I have. And I'm up till like 3 a.m. a lot of the times trying to figure out like what's the best morning meeting for these guys tomorrow. I really wanted to make an impact so they can start selling, so they can change their lives. And man, I almost went crazy. I'm not even joking. I started debating everything. I'm like, should I have went to college? No, I fucking hate school and I'm not going to work a 9 to 5. It was like, it was in me. It was planted in me where I would rather die than go back to like living a normal life. Like, I can't live a normal life. So then I start thinking, well, should I go back to sell real estate in Carlsbad? And then I'm like, well, what will the entire city of Carlsbad think of me, my hometown, that I've just recruited all these sales reps from and just completely given up on? And dude, it was one of those times where it was way harder than my first summer in terms of like the amount that I got tested. I literally was like breaking down almost every day where I'm just, and it was another one of those times where it's like, I'm doing everything I can do and I'm not getting results. Like, that is the only thing that ever frustrates me. If I know I can do more and I don't get the result I want, I blame myself all day long. It is what it is, bro. I'll take accountability day in and day out. But those times where you're just doing everything you can, and looking back now, knowing what I know now, it always works out. But in the moment when you're just starting and you're just going through that type of shit, man, it is brutal because you don't know that it always works out. You always think worst case scenario when you're in worst case scenario. But no, so we ended up having, dude, one day, bro, my mom, she's an absolute legend for this. I would be nowhere without my parents either, by the way. My mom, I call my mom, it's like a Saturday, it's like 2 p.m., there's like one person on the board out of our 25 guys. I call her. I'm like, Mom, I don't know if I can do this. I'm like, she might not be able to hear me crying, but I'm literally like tears running down my face. Like, it's over, Mom. Like, I'm gonna like, it's getting close. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, of course I'm gonna stay here. So she tells me that I can do hard things because like the last 3 years of my life were literally only me doing hard things. It was like going to the gym every single day. At this point, I think my squat, deadlift, bench total was like 1,185 for anybody that like knows lifting. I was in the 1,000-pound club. And I had obviously read a ton of books, both the David Goggins books, Jocko Willink, Stoic books, like philosophy, like how you should live your life, all this stuff. So my mentality is like damn near unbreakable is what everybody thinks, right? And I'm at this point where it's like broken. My mom just goes, you can do hard things. Go do hard things. Like, get off the phone with me and just go do hard things. Like, it always works out. It's like, all right, Mom, whatever, thanks, love you. Hang up, kind of gather myself a little bit. I go knock the next door. The next door is a woman with the same name as my mom. Absolute rollover, $1,200 contract. I made like $650 from the conversation. Like, it was ridiculous. And then like 2 days later, the team just has this like amazing day where we sell 22 accounts, which is like a terrible day for 25 people. Whenever it's less than one account a person, that means there's still people not making money every day. But for us at this point, it was an amazing day. We sold like 22 accounts, and that was like our breakout day. We had one that was for 14 before that, but then we went straight back down to like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 every day. But we hit that 22, and then the next day we sold 27, and then within the week we were selling like 30, 35, 37 accounts, like literally every single day. On our good days, we would sell 40, 45, 50. I think one day we sold like 56 accounts, maybe 60, as like a 25 to 30-man team because we had a couple more people show up. And we just had like an amazing summer after that. Like the vibes were up. We had like 7 new team leaders, I think, come out of a rookie class, which is super solid. And our top 3 rookies did better than I did my first year, which was like a huge win for me because I thought I did amazing my first year. So that summer was awesome. It just had a really, really rough start, and I kind of want to give you guys, like I said, the real, like how it is. Whatever business it is that you're in, like you're probably going to deal with the same type of shit. Going into year 3, that year, I mean, this last year was just like a logistical mess because we got hit by a tornado, and then we had to move area to Denver, and me personally, I just didn't like the market at all. I didn't really let the team know that, but they didn't like it, so it was pretty rough over there. And then we tried to go back to Houston where we were selling and got hit by a tornado, and then it got hit by a hurricane as we were on our way back. Like, it was just kind of unlucky. So from there, we had to go to San Antonio for like a week, sell with one of my buddies, because he's just nice enough to let us like land somewhere for a week. And we had to figure out where we were going to go for the rest of the season. So then we ended up going to Dallas towards the end of the season. So we were in like 4 different markets, which just like hurts. Nobody wants to move that many times, We lost a lot of knocking days, a lot of momentum. when we were in Houston at the beginning of the season, we were on track to do crazy, crazy, crazy numbers. And then logistically, it just kind of took away our momentum and dropped our speed a little bit. But we still had a really good summer. The people who wanted it, the people who worked hard, they still got very good results. We had a first-year team lead clear 6 figures, which was super cool. We had a ton of people that had the opportunity to, and we're honestly really close. But I think just the lack of momentum and honestly just like a little bit more work ethic, like if they would have just worked harder and held true to like the schedule a little bit better, they pretty easily would have made 6 figures. But as far as that summer, we actually ended up doing 3.3 million. I ended up doing 300K in total personal revenue. I ended up making $500,000 this last summer. So that's the story from $15 to $500,000, $15 an hour to $500,000 a year. But throughout that journey, like there's a couple things that have just like rang true every time. One is if you do everything that you possibly can all the time, it does not matter what happens to you, things will happen for you. Like there is zero chance I will ever see somebody lose that is doing every single thing within their power every single day to win. Like it just does not happen. People like that don't lose. Like honestly, it just does not happen. So that's the first one. Second one is it's always going to be harder than you think it's going to be. Like I came into my second summer. I was a little anxious just because I'd never led a team, but I ran a marathon before that second summer just to kind of like toughen up my mentality. And my mentality already was like ridiculous in my opinion. But I got humbled pretty quickly while I was out there. It was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think I was going to have to deal with everybody else's stress. I just thought I would have to deal with the stress of like leading everybody. But whenever you're a leader and you actually care about your people, like their stress becomes your stress. It's like whenever they're struggling, you're struggling too. And I had to learn how to like disconnect from that. And just do everything that I could, and you know, obviously they have to do things on their end as well. But and then the last one, honestly, is just like to be in the right place, and hopefully you're at the right place in the right time. But it's most important. You just have to be at the right place, like, and this isn't talking down on anybody that you know used to sell real estate with me at all. But I just didn't see the opportunity in my small town to get to the point that I wanted to get to in the time frame that I wanted to get to that in, you know, like I looked at like brokerage splits and commission percentages in the real estate agent world. And I looked at our, you know, highest producing realtor in town. And I was like, well, I would literally have to be the highest producing realtor in town to get to where I want to be in terms of earnings. And I'm talking about like being a 18, 19-year-old kid competing with, you know, 40, 50-year-old people that have been selling real estate in this town for 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 years, and have like a family name, you know? And it's like, I just didn't see the opportunity for myself. So I went and put myself in the right place. Like, it's not to say there's not opportunity in the place that I left, because there was. But the opportunity for me personally, that just wasn't the right place. So you have to be in the right vehicle. Like you can't work at Walmart and expect to be $100 millionaire. Like it just doesn't happen. Like maybe you very, very rarely see an anomaly of a story where somebody, you know, hits the lottery or somebody invests in a certain stock and it goes 1,000x and they put their life savings on it and they worked as a cashier their whole life and now they're worth 100 million. It's like, okay, cool. That happens one every 100 million people, right? Like if you want to be something, or, you know, in terms of economic success, everybody is something elsewhere. But if you want to be something in terms of economic success, like you have to put yourself in the right vehicle. So those would be the 3 things that I honestly would take away from just talking to you guys today. There's probably a ton of other stuff that you guys can relate to or see. Hopefully this helps you guys along your journey. But yeah, so now fast forward to today. I'm about to go into my 4th summer. We have over 150 signed sales reps. I very easily have the capability to go pretty much anywhere and sell anything door to door and make $100,000 a year on like easy mode just by myself, like hardly even trying, because I've learned a skill. That would probably be the huge takeaway. learn a skill. Like, if you're going to do anything in this life, learn a high value skill and then learn how to teach other people the high value skill. Like, that is how wealth creation happens. If you can learn a high value skill, you can make a ton of money yourself. But if you can teach other people how to make a ton of money, you're going to make a ton of money because you can teach other people how to make a ton of money. Like, a lot of the times people think people get paid off of like their position or their degree or whatever it is, but people really, like, in reality, in the economy, get paid based off of value and value creation. So it's like, if I can create a ton of value for all these people by teaching them this skill and giving them the opportunity to go do something, I'm going to get paid directly in proportion to the amount of value that I can create and put out into the economy. It's just how it works. But back to what I was saying, flash forward to today, I drive one of my dream cars. I'm a crazy dreamer, so I have very outlandish dream cars, like a Koenigsegg, or, I mean, the next one is going to be the Aventador SVJ. I'm just going to slowly cross them off the list over the years, but I drive a McLaren 570S right now. That's my first dream car checked off the list. The next one will be a Lambo, I'm assuming, possibly a 765 LT if I can find like an all-carbon spec. Those things are insane. Make $500,000 a year. I own $1 million worth of real estate at 22 years old and have 6 figures pretty steadily invested in the stock market. So it's been a crazy ride. I'm literally on autopilot to be a multi-millionaire by the time I retire if I just set it and forget it with everything and I don't get sued and lose it all, cross my fingers for whatever reason. But it's literally happened in 4.5 years, and I think anybody else can do it. And I think if you listen to people like me who have done it, or people like Alex Hormozi who have done it 1,000,000 times better than me, I'm a very small fish. I'm a very small fish in a very big pond in terms of entrepreneurship, but sometimes I do think listening to the guys that are closer to the ground have a better feel for what you're going through right now. And the Alex Hormozis have a better feel for broad market generalization, and you should take information from both of them. But yeah, you could do it too, if not faster. Like, a smart man learns from himself, a wise man learns from others. So just learn from others and give it your best all the time. Before you know it, like, you could be literally living your dream life, taking multiple vacations a year, living wherever you want to live, making $500,000, $1 million, $2 million a year, whatever your dream life entails, driving whatever car it is with, a wife and a family if that's for you. But yeah, hopefully this provided some sort of value. Hopefully it was motivational to you guys. I will continue to share my story and help you guys along the journey as much as I can. So if you have any recommendations for the next videos that you guys want to see from me, just drop a comment, like, subscribe, keep up with the channel, and we'll go from there.